going to watch Rachel Cruze, the Rachel Cruze show, Lacey's favorite, absolute favorite. Look at her face. She's loving every minute of this idea. But just to make it fair, her guest is Anthony O'Neill.
Your favorite.
Right. So
next to Skippy.
Yep. So this is going to be torture for both of us. And they're going to talk about racism on their finance show. Racism. Let's see what they say. I haven't seen this. Lacey hasn't seen this, so this is all new for us. So let's watch them talk.
Let's talk about it. Like, let's just get a perspective out there that hopefully you guys have had these kind of conversations, but if not, maybe this conversation will enlighten you. It'll help you maybe open your eyes, because I'll say this, and I've told you this, even in the last, few months, I feel like I've even learned more about whether it's Black history, redlining with real estate back in the day. I mean, like all these things that happened in our country, sadly.
Okay, I want to remind you too of this. So her father, Dave Ramsey, because she mentioned redlining. Now, I don't know that this was what was actually going on, but he lost his real estate business in his 20s and had to bankrupt it. But he was getting all these loans, and the law that they passed, and part of the reason they passed it was because these banks were giving out these loans like this, because what they were doing was they were hiring guys, kind of doing like what Dave did to flip houses, right? But the banks were targeting lower income Black areas to drive up the prices, to drive out all the Black people so they could gentrify it and make more money. And that's why Dave was able to get all these loans. I'm not saying that's what he did or what was going. I don't know what neighborhoods he was flipping houses in, but it's suspicious that was the law that kind of bankrupted him. But
yeah.
But now she's talking about it like, I'm just so amazed. I learned so much. Really? I think your father was. Oh God! See, look at this. I paused it again. Look at what his face is. He looks like he's being scolded by by a teacher. Oh man, here we go.
I'm sad and embarrassed to say, like, I didn't know some of this stuff, and I did more intentional research, listened to more talks, watched more things, read more things.
She did intentional research as opposed to accidental research.
Okay, so let's pause here on that one too. This is coming from the I don't read the article network.
Right, they never read the article.
So if she did intentional research, one can infer, hopefully correctly, that this means she looked some stuff up and read it.
No,
at least read some of it.
She read the title and then assumed a bunch of crap. That's what they usually do. Or they read the first paragraph and then assume a bunch of crap. Oh man.
Things that I probably ever have in a collective amount of time when this happens. And I came to you a lot, texting you, asking you questions. And
I feel bad for him now. Anthony, I just read about this. Did you know? Heart emoji.
I just feel like we just had, you're just a great resource for sure. I have other Black friends, but Anthony is.
I'm the best one.
Yeah,
Let me qualify this. Just FYI, people, just in case you didn't know, I have friends that are Black. I don't describe them as my Black friends. I describe them as my friends. You don't need to put a qualifier. I don't describe Lacey as my white friend. It's not relevant.
I'm going to go meet Lacey, my white female friend.
Right. As opposed to my Jewish ninja friend. I mean, what is that? I
think I would rather be your Jewish ninja friend, but I mean, if I have to get a descriptor under me.
Yeah, you're too Norwegian, too Scandinavian. not
so I can be your
Viking.
Scandinavian Viking. Can Ninja make it too? Can I be Viking Ninja friend? We got to work that out somehow.
Ninja Viking.
A really sneaky, quiet, extra lethal Viking. I mean, that's kind of what Viking Ninja sounds like.
There you go.
Right.
Probably like my favorite, one of my favorite people to talk to about this. But I want to know, you came obviously from, to kind of talk about your backgrounds and kind of what brought you here at Ramsey to begin with, just to know your perspective.
Yeah. So my perspective before joining Ramsey Solutions, I was an associate pastor at a mega all Black church, about 30,000 members that they have there. And it's literally 99.9% African Americans. And so coming from that and coming here to where it's about 98% all white people, which is nothing wrong with that. It was a huge, huge culture.
There's nothing wrong with that, but I have to point out we are missing the mark on diversity here at the Ramsey Solutions.
Not for me. But people like yourself, your dad, some other our team members here, because of having those conversations and honestly giving me grace to ask questions without feeling wrong, really helped me out. But grew up in an all Black community, grew up in the country. And so I really wasn't exposed to a lot of multiracial stuff growing up. And so that's just really my background.
Yeah, well, it's good because I think that perspective is so key. So with, again, it's such a heightened topic right now. It's a very sensitive topic. And I know I can say for me as a white person, I'm probably less guarded with you because I feel like I can just ask it probably in the wrong way. And you probably.
And if you say it the wrong way, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I was going to say, you correct me in a very nice way, but you're like, you can't say that right. I'm like, okay, I don't know.
Right.
But what are some things that you feel like it's really important for white people to know about Black?
Okay, so here we go. Now we're getting into the meat. So I want to qualify this because Lacey and I are the complete opposite. I'm a racially mixed, right? We both live in the cities most of our lives. So we're around a diverse group of people all the time. We walk out the door and it's not like all white people. I mean, it's all kinds of different people, right? They're both from segregated communities, right? She's used to being in an all white Tennessee kind of area. He's used to being in an all Black, right, area. So now we're going to see two people from rural, more segregated backgrounds try and talk about diversity and racism. It's just going to be weird.
So, yeah, I have to chime in here because it might be something you forgot about me. When I was a child, I lived in a very small town in North Dakota.
That's right.
So I cannot honestly say there was much diversity within that situation, though probably more than what either one of them come from, because I was from a community that had an Air Force base, and people from all over the United States would end up there via the Air Force. However, it still was predominantly white. And so I can identify a little bit with sort of the lack of understanding based on the lack of exposure you can happen or that you can have. And I guess to a certain degree, somebody has to tell you something.
Right.
And you have to be able to be safe to ask questions. So I, kind of want to give a little credit for that, but at the same time, kind of watching the, this is my token Black friend, and let me ask you the questions that white people need to know about Black people. I don't know.
The thing about it is I mentioned the segregation thing because there's going to be a lot of stereotyping when you come from those kinds of communities where, Black people are like this, and white people are like this, and Asian people in Chinatown are like this, right? And the problem is that is maybe from where you're from, that's how people are. But that's not a Black thing. That's a cultural thing. It's not a white thing.
It could even be particular for certain, in this region, in this community, and that, you know what I mean? We can't.
But it's going to be like watching.
We couldn't pretend that, the Scandinavian white folks in North Dakota that largely, was my community, is going to be the same as Rachel's community, very different.
They're very different. And then, I grew up on the West Coast, so completely different, right? And, the thing about it, my point is that it's like, it's going to be, I'm just anticipating this, that because of that, it's going to be a lot like watching, comedians from the 80s and 90s, where it's like, well, black people walk like this, and white people walk like this, and black people talk like this, and white people talk like this. And it's like, no, it's just the community you're from. It's not. I mean, it's going to be a lot of stereotyping. That's what I'm anticipating. It's going to be. Welcome back to the early 90s.
I hope this isn't going to feel like a Disney movie that got yanked off the shelves that they pretended they didn't make.
Yeah, I know. It's a going downhill. She's already wearing polka dots.
Right. I mean, it's gonna, hope this is going to be like, let's talk about Song of the South.
Right. All right, let's watch.
I think it's one thing I like about you, Rachel, was when you ask questions, you don't just ask questions and then leave it there. You actually come to me like, hey, Anthony, I watched this. I read this. Can you help me understand this a little bit?
Dude, I called it. I just saw this on TV. You're black. What do you think? I know people like that at the office, where it's like, you're like, dude, stop harassing the employees.
Bit more. So you've already shown me as an African American that you're actually willing to go do some research on your own, and something that you just can't click because of your culture. Hey, I'm gonna go ask Anthony. I'm gonna go ask someone else. And for us as black people, we value that. Like, we value that. And so
wait, does it turn me into her if I start asking my black friends whether as black people they value us asking these questions? Or I don't want to. I guess I'm taking some issue with this because maybe he's right. I have no idea, but I don't want people assuming that whatever I say is what all white people think. God forbid I have to be the voice of like what all white people think.
Well, that's